Okay, so I'm thinking of adding one more element and then finding some creative ways to make these scenes feel a bit more distinct. So before I get to that, let me go back into my browser and I'm going to find another audio loop just because that is my want. And let's see, how about in my little synth and music loop folder? So pretty. All right, so I'm going to bring this in here. I don't know exactly what scene I want this to come into yet. Let me go ahead and rename the track. I'm going to call this melodic. Oops, melodic. There we go. Is that right? Yes, I think. All right, so we have this here. I don't know how this is going to fit with everything else yet, so I'm just going to go ahead and play it and just see how they all work. Okay, that actually works surprisingly well. Now, what I think I'd like to do is do something a little bit different with this melodic sample, because right now it's just the same exact loop that I pull out of my browser. So let's start using some of the things that we've already learned how to take advantage of. One thing I could use very easily is a clip envelope and apply the same volume gating technique that we did in one of our earlier lessons. To do that, I can simply go to the clip envelope here. I want to affect the clip volume, not the mixer volume. So in the top chooser box, I'm going to select clip. Below that, I have volume right there. So far, so good. Now, I don't need the clip envelope to be the same length as the clip loop. So I'm going to unlink the envelope, the loop length of the envelope, from the loop length of the clip by hitting this link button. I'm going to change the loop length of my clip envelope to something that's much shorter. And how about we do 2 beats? And the grid right now is set to, well, it was set to 30-second notes. I'm going to keep it set to that. So I'm going to right click, go to my fixed grid and make this a 30-second note grid. And if I zoom out and zoom back in, there we go. All right, so now let me focus just on this. And I'm going to switch to my pencil tool, my draw mode, by hitting B. And again, I'm just going to do some simple volume gating by muting out maybe every other 16th note. Okay, I think that sounds pretty cool. And let me see, let's play around with transposing this. I think the pitch actually sounds okay now, but I'm going to drop this an octave and hear how it sounds. Yeah, I like that. I think that sounds pretty cool. So this is something that could come in to one of these scenes here. Now, I think that this melodic sound should probably come in a little bit earlier in one of these scenes. So maybe we set it up where the intro here, our kick and clap, is very sparse. Okay, we don't really have the full pattern there yet. Second scene, we get our full kick pattern, but we don't have the hi-hats come in yet. So maybe when the hi-hats come in, we can have this melodic sound come in. Let's hear how that works. Okay, we'll go from scene 2. And then we'll go to scene 3. Now, I think that's kind of cool, but I actually like the idea of introducing just one element that's new. So instead of introducing the melody and the hi-hats, what we could do instead is take this scene, scene 2. This just has the MIDI clip with the kick and clap pattern without the hi-hats. And I could take this whole scene and duplicate it. So if I select the scene, Command D, as you know by now, is our shortcut to duplicate. And now I can take this melodic sample and I can move it up to scene 3. And again, since I'm color coding these so I can recognize this a bit better, maybe I'll color code this, let's say yellow. And again, this is just a personal, little technique. You don't have to do the color coding the way I'm doing it. It's just helpful to be able to easily identify these different scenes, and coloring them when something significant happens is a helpful way to go about it. So I'm going to call this one melodic. There we go. So I know exactly when that comes in. So now when we go to scene 2, the only thing we're going to introduce at scene 3 is the melodic sample. Now I want to make sure that the melodic sample, once it gets introduced, it doesn't suddenly disappear for the next few scenes. So let's go here. And while this is playing, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this clip so that it's in the next few scenes. Command D, Command D, Command D. So now when I go to this scene, this is going to have the hi-hats come in. And again, I'm following an 8-bar loop, so that's why I'm letting the scenes play for 8 bars at a time. Bring our little conga sound there. So this is cool. I like the way it's developing, but I just thought of a couple different things that I'd like to introduce. And again, since we're working with kind of an arrangement here, it's important to think about how this is all going to progress and build up. So before the melodic part comes in, I thought it might be cool if we look at the MIDI clip here. It's an 8-bar clip. So essentially this is going to be an 8-bar scene. And during the last bar, it might be cool to do some sort of build up with the kick drum. Something like that, where we can have 4 kicks at the end, each a 16th note apart, and they kind of build up in velocity. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a few kicks in there. And I think it might be nice to deactivate this last clap so the focus is more on these kicks. And I'm going to highlight these kicks. And remember, I can make the velocity ramp up, holding Command, clicking, and drawing my little line here. So this is going to be what leads me into the next scene. The clap's going to drop out. We're going to have 4 kicks playing in a row, and then that's going to take me to the next scene. So when I'm ready, so now it really feels like the second scene sets up the introduction of the melody, because we have something at the end of the 8 bars that builds up to it. And then our hi-hats come in. So the other thing that I thought would be nice is when the percussion comes in, I feel like something should happen with the melody. And since we're dealing with an audio clip, I could simply go to this clip, which is currently warped, and transpose this back up an octave. So hold Shift and press up, and let's hear what it sounds like going from scene 4 to scene 5. Okay, that's not too bad, but I have a better idea. I'm going to go ahead and transpose this back down an octave. Now, as you guys can probably see, I like to duplicate things quite a lot because it's fun to see what you can do with a minimal amount of content. And I have this one audio sample here, and I've used the clip envelopes to basically do like a volume gate kind of thing. And I think what would be really cool is instead of transposing this clip up an octave, well, how about this? We'll duplicate this entire track. So I'm going to take this melodic track. I select the track header, Command D to duplicate. I'm going to rename this, and I'm going to call this melodic octave up. Now, I don't want a higher pitched melodic clip in this scene or in that scene. I don't want this to come in until the percussion part comes in. And I like it so that this clip in that percussion scene plays at its original pitch. So that's going to play at the same time as this one, which is an octave lower. And it's going to give us a nice texture to be able to use that same sample an octave apart from itself. So again, we'll play from scene 4 and then we'll go into the next scene. All right, here we go. It's pretty cool. So I think in the last scene, maybe I'll deactivate the clip that's an octave lower. Select it, press 0. There we go. That works really nicely. All right. So now we have our, 6 scenes here in the session view, and we can trigger these in any order that we want to. And by doing so, we create somewhat of an arrangement in the session view that we could then later record to the arrangement view. More importantly, though, we can mix and match the clips because we don't have to just strictly launch the scenes. If I launch one scene and decide I want to bring in this clip here, that's totally fine. So the beauty of it is that you're not stuck to the scenes, but these scenes make it a lot easier to launch multiple clips at once.